Diabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan, together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up, Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We are coming at you live, 1040 O Street. A little bit cooler day, but back to normal. Back to normal after a victory. Look, it's been it's been 4 games in a row that we lost up to yesterday, and then obviously add on a couple bye weeks, 6 weeks. That's a long 6 weeks. A month and a half for a team that was trying to, at that point in time, to continue to get bowl eligible. Got over the hump yesterday, beat down of Wisconsin, a team you hadn't beaten in over 10 years. It definitely was a step in the right direction. Overall, I felt like it was a dominant performance, and they won all 3 phases. I felt like special teams got the party started finally, as far as in the return game. And it was a change in mentality. And I think maybe, with change in mentality offensively kind of poured over to special teams, and defense kept, doing what they needed to do and stepping up, making timely plays and situational football, which was an improvement, in last week. And, whether Wisconsin came in as a wounded duck or they wounded themselves by, firing their offensive coordinator after almost a huge upset and the upset of the year against Oregon, losing 16-13 just a week ago. And obviously one of their best defensive player, and Waller was out, and then their best probably, or the most consistent wide receiver, Pauling, was out as well. So they definitely were a wounded duck, but ultimately we've been on the other side of that, and teams have, been able to take advantage of that. And certainly Nebraska did that while facing Wisconsin. Listen, when you win a game, they don't put asterisks in there. Who played, who didn't. Offensive coordinator was changed. USC didn't get an asterisk when they beat us last week. So ultimately, it was a good victory. And it was something that's been a long time coming. When you haven't been to a bowl game in 8 years, and you see the likes of, team like Kansas, who obviously had a big, huge upset win over Colorado, that they've been bowling more times than we have in the last 8 years, and other teams, that normally wouldn't or hadn't in the past. Becomes a little bit of pressure. And, we've had moves that we had to make both in, the coaching staff, which is, you hired a new offensive coordinator during the year, shift, responsibilities, try to find a way to, to win a game. And that's one thing that you have to, give credit to the coaching staff and I guess the whole football department, is that when obviously Matt Rule is the person that makes all those decisions or has a big hand in him. I'm sure he does it all himself, or he is signing off on it. Is that when you get up there as a leader or as a head coach and you say, listen, I'm going to try to do anything I can to win every single week and every single season, to get a winning season, and then obviously you become bowl eligible is a huge stepping stone, oddly enough, and a step in the right direction. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to be willing to take the blunt of the blame, and then you got to take a little bit of the credit when it works out. And so, right now, I think for Nebraska is a great confidence builder. When you win a game like that, it does more for you, like internally. It's a different locker room than after Colorado. It's a different locker room than after any of the Rutgers or anything like that. And the reason why is because nobody in the football team on the team has ever experience of winning anything substantial and extending your season. Right. For me, it was kind of foregone conclusion. Right. And so I don't understand that. I know what it's like when you make the playoffs, right? I know what it's like. So and I know what it's like when you struggled in the pros and you got to find a way to get it going. And then you get, you get you make a playoff. I do understand that. And so that's the only thing I can kind of correlate it to. And it is a different vibe in the locker room. And, on senior day, it was good. And I said it, in the pregame show, even said it on my Foreman 4, you got to play for the seniors because, in this day and age of college football, your 4 years goes by quick. Heck, it might be very rarely you see guys play that long at one university. And, there's a lot of expectations and potential coming into the season. Started out really good, hit obviously a lull. And then, we said it last week, Harrison, if you handle your business down the stretch, and we said this over the last 3 games, the lull or the low point in the middle of the season is thought of a lot differently.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And what else do we say about the players? These last 3 games can be your legacy. Do you become bowl eligible? Do you play better down? This is the lasting memory that you're leaving. They're not going to say, yes, if you played a great individual game, against Ohio State or something like that. But these last games are the ones that everybody's going to take, as your snapshot in your playing history. That's what they're going to think about you as. And part of it's going to be that you became bowl eligible. So it was a big day, for those young men and everybody involved. And Bruce in Kansas has a text in here. And we appreciate you getting up this early on a after game show after probably a long night, after the volleyball team whooped up on Wisconsin as well. Bruce in Kansas says, my mom and I got to meet you in the studio Thursday before the Colorado game. Sweet. Good memories, Bruce. I think also, before we get into the details of the game, you give a shout out to the volleyball team as well.
They got to be like the most terrifying team, same way that the Lions are in the NFL right now.
Well, they're getting better.
Husker volleyball team they're getting better as the season. They're just decimating teams. We'll see what happens to come playoffs, but right now it's who's number 1? How are they still number 2?
I don't know.
I don't know what Nebraska's got to do to be number 1. I don't know. It's a little bit of controversy, but it won't matter. They're playing good enough. They'll be there in postseason.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the football team and the volleyball team. Wisconsin was a more of a mental. They're always very good teams. Yeah. But there was times I felt like Nebraska let themselves down, and then Wisconsin had a little bit of a mental edge,
especially on the road. You saw that for the longest time,
right? And they went up there and did that. And I think during the Friday show, we were kind of doing just a wraparound. I was like, once they went up there and swept them, and I know Nebraska played really well and Wisconsin didn't, but it was the way they beat them. Then it's like, yeah, you're not coming here and winning, and so. And hopefully it bodes well for Nebraska's football team. The way Nebraska was able to dominate Wisconsin in all 3 phases is probably as big of a step, and holistically for this football team and football program, than even the scoreboard. And Harrison, the reason why I say that is because most of our victories, it's like the one side of the ball played really, really well. The other one was like, and then one not so good. Well, this one right here is the first time that, it wasn't perfect, but I think that all 3 phases were dominant and played a huge part in us, obviously beating the brakes off of Wisconsin You got it from special teams. Clean, right? Clean.
Corey Barney too.
Barney.
I mean, some explosive plays right off the gate. Barney
right
had a
off the
nice
rip,
one.
right? And that's a change in mindset because you got to think. Here's the difference. I guess I will go a little bit farther into it. Is there a difference of this is just my opinion of playing to like, I call it like you're playing to show that you're playing hard, but not playing to win. And that kind of, you could just dice that up as playing not to lose versus showing up, competing, and obviously playing to win. The difference is right off the get-go. Very easily, and over time, right, you could say, okay, just let that ball go in the end zone, and let's just start, at a 25-yard line. It was never a question whether he was catching that ball or in returning, right? So it lets you know that the mental side of the game, right from the beginning, they were showing up to win and to take the fight to Wisconsin, taking the fight to whoever it was. And I think from the very, very beginning, obviously with the offense going down and being able to score, that that Wisconsin was playing defense and we were playing offense the whole game. Any type of counterpunch they gave us, anytime even, they answered right themselves and scored.
Yep.
And then we were able to, we obviously punted. Then the defense came and withstood that counterpunch. Offense got going. And then we played what I like to call small ball. Again, on the Foreman's floor, this last 6. hey, Petty Paul is in the building. I talk about the first 6 minutes coming out of the game, Harrison. Okay, and everybody says the 6 minutes before halftime, but I break it into 3 minutes before halftime, 3 minutes after halftime. We annihilated them 3 minutes, the last 3 minutes. Not only do we stop them, get the ball, score, kick off, they make a mistake, take another 3 with you, even though you get the ball back. See, the whole mental side of that, of momentum, and when you have to go sit on that in the locker room, cannot be understated. Because going in and say, okay, well, all right, they might have got lucky and scored before half. All right, now what you like to do is try to get something going offensively, and then you get the ball back again. We've seen that with us as well, where you get something going earlier in the season, I'm saying, and then you come on at halftime because you have it, then you can get it rolling. When me and Nick say it all the time when we call high school games. Well, Nebraska eliminated all of that. When they went into halftime, Wisconsin, they're reeling.
Yeah, they just gave up 17 points in the third quarter alone.
Right. And so,
like you said, at the very end there, they
10 quick
one up.
Right.
Yeah.
10 quick. It's almost like an analogy in basketball. It's like, okay, Harrison hit a 3. Okay, well, dang, we just threw it to Jay, layup. Oh, we got a steal. Then you hit the walk-off 3. Yeah. As you're going, like you hit Steph Curry 3 and he just runs right in the locker room.
And you look up, it's a double-digit swing off.
Right. You just went down. You just went on a 10-0 run in a matter of like 15 seconds. And so right then they were never able to, in my opinion, you get their second win. And then it showed a little bit of a killer instinct too, where, whether you want to call it, see blood in the water or something like that, where you saw Nebraska really drop the hammer down. So I think it was a mentality change. And I don't, they can tell you better than I can where it came from, but ultimately it was what they needed to get over the hump in the 6 wins. And so I felt like this, and before we, go to break, we still got a few more minutes. I felt like, for quite some time, the offensive line, and I would say over the oddly enough, which is weird, over the 4-game losing streak, I felt like the offensive line started to play better week in and week out, dealing with injuries, starting to play some guys here, and guys are and they were the most consistent. Yesterday was no different. I felt like they could have even dominated more. I felt like Nebraska had a size advantage, athletic ability advantage, and they really brought it to them. I mean, you got to think for Nebraska here, and Wisconsin scored 25 points and stuff like that. Where you start out 7-7, hang 17 on them. Got a really, it's 24-10. It's a 2-score game. There's a lot. A 2-score game with a half of football is nothing. 2-score game with a quarter of football left is nothing. So we say, listen here, we're gonna score 10 and then third. We're gonna outscore you every quarter. They score 7. So it's 17-34. And they say, okay, well, can we backdoor our way in there and not, turn the gas off? No, we're going to gain 10 more on you. We're going to just send you home with a nice little care package, with senior day. So I think it's, a big step in the right direction, especially for, a coach like Matt Rule that, was close last year. You got all these kind of demons maybe that you got out there in the universe. Well, what we had 5 victories going into the last month last year, 1-0-4, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're 5-1 at one point in time, lost 4 in a row. And it's a hard 4 in a row because of the bye weeks. And not performing well coming out of the bye weeks and going to USC and, you have the coordinator change and, Wisconsin kind of, is that little bit of a big hump of 10 in a row. And so, it's a big step and probably some relief, but ultimately, when you wake up this morning, it's on to Iowa because you got a game here in less than pretty much in 3 days.
Yeah.
As far as preparation.
Good rivalry too, which I got to say though, it's about time we beat Wisconsin. You seen that trophy? What's it called? The Heroes Trophy? No, that's for. Why am I blanking on the Wisconsin trophy name?
Isn't it a chair or something like that, or some sort of chair?
No, that's the one. That's Minnesota, but it's that plaque's just horrible. It's just Wisconsin over and over and over.
Oh, I know. Yeah, for
I was
the
looking
victors.
at I was zooming in on it. It's all Dylan Rayola posted.
Well, it's 10 in a row.
10 in a row.
I didn't even realize that. And you know what's crazy? Why it doesn't seem like 10 in a row, and it goes always back.
Because we never had it here.
Well, yes, but it always goes back. It goes back to like when Bo was here. You got to think we beat them, and then the streak started. I think in the Big 10 championship game when we were ravaged by injuries, and Cam Meredith had to play defensive tackle, and they just obliterated us. And then you had the Melvin Gordon game the next year up there in the snow.
Jonathan Taylor,
and everybody else, and then obviously so forth and so on, and then obviously through Mike Riley and Scott Frost, but then also here's why it doesn't, I guess, seem like 10 in a row. The games are usually very, very tight.
Yeah.
So again, we always reference the 3-9 team, best 3-9 team. That's part of it where you've essentially probably lost like by 2 or 3 points. And so, it was always kind of diced up around here as like a more of a moral victory. So, but then when I realized it was 10 in a row, I was like, dang, this needs to stop. And so, and that's also a mental hurdle that they had to get over as well. You got to think Wisconsin probably felt like they were entitled to victory after winning that many times.
Yeah, it's the same thing we're talking about with the Husker volleyball, the Badgers.
Yeah.
Like after Husker volleyball went over to Wisconsin and just beat the brakes off them in a sweep, the mental edge, you probably assume that Nebraska, wherever they're playing, they got it.
Right. Yeah, and it's a different type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about being a hunter versus the hunted. And you had to have a hunter's mentality yesterday.
Yeah, and I think Wisconsin had it for a little bit of start. I mean, they punched back.
Yeah,
right away.
I mean, they did. I mean, you can't say that they can't. That they listen. They just, if you watch the Oregon game, and I wasn't able to when we did our whiteboard this week to really get clear video for what we did. As far as what Wisconsin was going to try to do against us. But I watched the whole Oregon game twice. It wasn't that Oregon was like sleepy, or they played, a late afternoon game and they're playing in the night. This is actually right around the time Oregon usually plays at home. Wisconsin had a really, really good game plan. They ran the ball effectively and were very, very physical against Oregon. And had them on the ropes and really had a couple opportunities to win the game. And just where it wasn't able to score enough points with 2 drives that they had a chance to tie the game into the field goal or potentially go for a touchdown to win. And so, no matter what Luke Fickell did with the offensive coordinator, the identity of the team was a lot clearer coming from that game against Oregon. So then, therefore, the confidence when you come down here, plus you'd won 10 in a row, and plus Nebraska coming off a game where we weren't able to stop the run very effectively, and they ran the ball effectively, and that's what they were leaning on. They came in here with a lot of confidence, and so you knew that they were going to punch back. To be on the road and essentially give up a huge return, and Nebraska walk the ball all the way down the field and score, and then you turn around with not a prolific offense, judging off of 13 points last week, kind of like us, and you answer, oh, they were punching back. And then, listen, we get the ball, they 3-and-out us. So it was it was punch back, counter punch. Then Nebraska was able to counter punch and play some defense, and then we got back on offense. So it was a good game, man. I mean, it's the coaching in it and the back and forth and stuff like that is what you need. And if you didn't watch a lot of college football yesterday, parity is here, chaos is here.
Feeling yesterday, my Lord.
Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin,
Miss, yeah.
Lane. Listen, Lane, and also I've been hard on this dude.
I can't make a damn read on Ole Miss ever.
Oh, you just look. I know Lane. Me and Lane grew up together. Listen, Lane's biggest thing is this, and we played against each other. We were cross-time rivals, but we were ball boys together. And this is back like he would send, you would send messages through like mutual people that came, our high school, what they were going to do to us. And once Lane starts talking junk, that lets you know that the edge is gone. The best Lane that you can get, the one that's very short, cerebral, and focused. And then this week, I knew that they were going to lose once he started talking about, we don't even want to play in that SEC championship game because if you lose, you might not get in the 12-team playoffs. So you're thinking about the future, and you're talking about losing. You're talking too much, Lane. So just on the opposite of him, the dude that I've really been on, and I love Lane as a coach, that the team stepped up well. And I was James Franklin at Penn State. It was not pretty. But in the day of chaos, they got through. And if you don't think that this is a setup perfect for the first 12-team playoff with the chaos and the parity, this is exactly what the powers that be had wanted. You never know. And remember, before the season started, Harrison, when we'd be doing our stuff is like, well, the regular season doesn't matter. All you got to do is make sure you lose early and then finish strong late. Well, nobody's finishing strong right now. And then a team that was dead in the rights or dead in the water last week, and I'm jumping all over the place there, LSU and Brian Kelly, they win. Up jumps the cat. Knock, knock, who's there? We're back, right? I mean, we're back. And then, another team that thought they were on easy streak, thought that they could really get in because everybody kind of dookie down their leg, Texas A&M. Knock, knock, who's there? Not us.
Yeah, who did it? Auburn?
Yeah.
Upset him?
Yeah. I mean.
To your point, like, hey, say what you will about Franklin and crew over at Penn State, but they found a way to win. For PJ Fleck and the Gophers.
Right. And PJ Fleck, I'm telling you, this was a job interview game. This was because he tried to get out there last year at UCLA.
Yeah, which is
crazy because UCLA didn't support UCLA financially with NIL, but you're going to leave. All right. He wins this Penn State game. I can guarantee you he's gone. Man, my brother, it's 4th and 1. You're at the crib. You got to score touchdowns, and you got that big. You have the number 2 ranked offensive lineman in the draft, and you ain't run the ball. You kicked a field goal at the goal line, and you lost by 1.
That just felt like an offense to his own brand of football he's trying to sell.
Right, and we talk about your lasting memory. Now that's your lasting legacy, and I've grown to really respect PJ. That's your lasting memory and your legacy. And guess what else would have been? It was actually going to be 2019, that magical season. It's amazing how the football god set it up. You did it in 2019 and got you that magical season. You're right here again, and somehow from 2019 to 24, you figure out who you were. And you dookie right down your leg. The moment was too big. Mr. Go 30. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break here on Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. Jay Foreman, we'll be right back.
My husband has always been the one we depend on. He's a great dad, loves the outdoors, but lately he hasn't been himself. He tried to hide it, but I can tell he's struggling with his mental health. I called the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
988 calls and texts are free and confidential with skilled caring support 24/7. No judgment, just help.
988 saved my husband's life.
Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering an amazing Black Friday sale for all ticket listeners. You will get the Winter 10-week challenge for 40% off and get all of December for free. Start your transformation before the new year arrives. And at the end of the 10-week challenge, someone's walking away with $1,000. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine, and online at fxblincoln.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through November 24th, enjoy bone-in turkey breast for $1.99 per pound, 8-ounce USDA choice boneless ribeyes for $8.99 each, whole boneless Carver ham for $4.48 per pound, and call 402-486-6611 to place your holiday orders today. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Confidence on the field begins with confidence in your fit. And nobody fits the polar bear like Gary Michaels. From off the rack to custom made to measure, the Gary Michaels team can tackle any hard-to-fit man and make him feel like a champion. For style, affordability, and the finest clothes from here to Italy, it's gotta be Gary Michaels. Take it from the polar bear. Get your best look today at Gary Michaels.
Gary Michaels Clothiers, 56th and Pine Lake Road, Lincoln.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They will help you with all your imaging needs and set forth a clear and definitely a clear and truth and forthcoming path for you to relieve some of your pain issues that I've had over the years of playing football, then obviously after football, but then also they do a lot of cool things as far as concussion treatment, and then obviously do a lot of stuff for pre-screening and also breast cancer awareness. I had a huge walk last month. I think October 12th it was. Great turnout, and we're going to participate in it again next year. Also a big shout out to Dr. Finn, Dr. Razdan, and the whole crew over there. The atmosphere and customer service is really, really first class to go along with those two young gentlemen. Got a couple texts here. Scott in Michigan, or Scott in Minnesota. I won't ever my bad, Scott. Michigan and USC finally got bowl eligible yesterday. Think about that. As much as we just talked about how big. Well, listen, we haven't been bowl eligible in 8 years, but ultimately there's team, the defending national champion, finally got bowl eligible yesterday, and USC, who was thought of to be one of the better teams, especially after beating LSU in the first game this year and possibly getting in the college football playoff, possibly being back. I was at Big Ten Media Days where Lincoln Riley said that they were back and going to take the Big Ten by storm. They became bowl eligible yesterday. So, a lot of teams have gotten over the hump. And also I want to give a shout out to, I'm going to give him a shout out. Billy Napier. Hey, man, when I saw that schedule and saw the way the footing the thin ice that he was on, the thin ice, Harrison, you've been into it where, the first kind of freeze on a pond and it's real thin. And you can still see the water flowing underneath. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the ice that he was on. And for him to turn this thing around, for him, and, granted, I think it came down to financial for Florida. We better keep him. We're going to be paying him anyways. And they're playing some good football. They're playing hellified defense. He's turned it around. And they're tough out. They're kind of like Kansas.
I thought they were cooked. Very beginning of the season.
I thought they were done
to Miami right off the bat.
And remember, they had recruits.
And
they're embarrassing, and the recruits were,
getting barked at by
Miami. And then they also were the recruits were like taking off their lanyards and stuff like that.
That's
so
a bad look. And then they were struggling a little bit more after that too. I want to say it was kind of a rough start to the season for them. I can't remember exactly, but
yeah, Florida was on the straight. I didn't think they were going to win more than 2 games.
They looked rough.
Yeah, they were. And for them to battle back and become bowl eligible, they're 6-5 and even Steven in the SEC. And look, they beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss was number 9 coming into the game and controlled their own destiny. It was thought that they were going to go to the SEC championship, a big step for them. And Florida, took it to them, and then they scored, outscored them in the second half 10-3. And so you want to give a shout out to them, but then also you have to recognize, that the parity of college football is there. And ultimately you could do the whole what if and all this and what, things that you couldn't have done or could have done in the season to have a special season here in Nebraska. I want to give we got another text. Danico, go Big Red. The streak is over. Jay, I hear you. Bill and Bennett talking about PJ Fleck. Seeing him pick up a piece of gum on the sideline and putting it in his mouth was gross. PJ is just weird. He's a little quirky.
He's different. Nothing wrong about that.
But I think that's what sets him weird. Now, I will tell you this, Bill and Bennett, it's not real grass, so there's not any but it's that fake stuff. I wonder how many pebbles were in there and he started eating it because it's tired, whatever. But
we get plastic everywhere today, a little more than gum ain't gonna hurt.
Hey, man, one other thing that PJ Fleck does, I think at the end of the third quarter, he sprints down to when they flip the field. He's got to be in pretty good shape, man. I was waiting for him to pop a hamstring.
He reminds me a little bit of Jim Harbaugh sometimes.
Oh,
not in a little bit of coaching philosophy too, but just very wiry. They almost look like they're on something. They're not.
Yeah, but yeah, he's the one thing I will tell you though, and Jim Harbaugh was the same way. So there's a lot of similarities. Like he came in and with the row the boat and and all the catchphrases and all this and the energy, and you wonder how long it lasts. And listen, for him to take the Minnesota job, make him respectable. I know from being up in Minnesota, that athletic department, that football program has kind of been a cesspool for I'm talking about a quarter century, 25 years.
For mediocrity.
Yeah, mediocrity and
just collecting checks
and firing coach, you get rid of Glenn Mason and the whole. I mean, it goes back to when Lou Holtz was there and he left in the middle of the night, and it just kind of was a downward spiral. You get it going, then Glenn Mason, wasn't good enough, and then we had Jim Wacker, but it was a lot of issues. But the one thing I would say to him over time is like, he's a good coach. He's very detailed, very upfront, straightforward. And I will tell you this, man, is Blake Cashman is a kid that I've known, and Carter Coughlin. I've been knowing them kids since they were grade school, middle school. And Blake was a good player at my high school. The previous coach gave somebody else a scholarship and said Blake needs to walk on. Blake definitely started. He started as a freshman, as a walk on. PJ Fleck came in, and Blake was, he had the chance to go into the portal. And that time, I think depending if he was graduating or not, he would have either been able to play right away. I was trying to get him to come to Nebraska, to be honest with you, or he could have sat out because he didn't redshirt. PJ Fleck came in, took the job. First call he made was to Blake. He said, "Listen, I'm going to put you on scholarship." Now, mind you, this dude had walked on for 3 years, starting. And Blake said he called him on Thursday. By Monday, he was on scholarship. So that let me know he's a man of his word.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that he's asked those guys to do, as far as Carter and Blake, and those guys I know, and also Antoine Winfield Jr., I've been knowing him, and I obviously played with his dad, good friends with Antoine Sr. They said, "Listen, dude, that dude is a man of his word. Once you get past all that stuff and he wants you to be a better person, and it leads into the players, or it leads into the football." So that's where he's at. But he is definitely quirky.
Yeah.
Listen, he wears penny loafers with no socks, with like kind of men joggers that I ran into him one time at this steakhouse called Seven, and he's wiry, but he's cool though. I mean, I have no problem. I went up and met with him a couple times, and a good dude.
You made one big mistake though.
Yes,
Let
he
his
did.
guy Emmett Johnson leave the Borders.
He did. But
what a hell of a game from him.
Yeah.
His career game.
Oh yeah.
Emmett
Yeah. We're
Johnson
gonna get into
yesterday.
it. We got one more text, and we'll get into it. I'm gonna give a couple awards. This is Jaron and Lincoln. He's like, I like that pep and Dylan step, and also the fire getting after his guys. And that's part of it. And I think sometimes, owning the offense, knowing that your body language is important, is something that Dylan's a young kid. He's learning it, and it's important. And everybody feeds off him. And so he looked a lot more comfortable in tune, and he looked like with a different mentality that he was going to be aggressive.
Had some tough throws. This is one of the more impressive. He had that dot to Banks in the back corner, that not even the corner, but that back stretch of that end zone. Like, this is a day where it's like the most 50-50 ball, not even 50-50 balls, just the skill guys, trusting the skill guys to go make plays.
Yeah.
Most consistent, clean offensive game for sure, and some explosive plays with it.
Yeah. And so we'll give a couple little weekly awards here. Top dogs, and this is who won the game in the trenches. Obviously, I'm gonna give it to the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They were on guys. They had effort down the field, and obviously when you have Emmett Johnson and Dante Dowdell, but more or less, both backs on 26 carries, they averaged 11 yards a carry, total, so about 5.5 yards per carry. But those two, and Emmett Johnson, obviously, had 113 yards, and obviously. For Dylan to be able to go 28 to 38, pretty clean all day.
89 receiving yards for Emmett too.
Yeah, 85 and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and to be able to spread the ball around, they did a really good job of running, blocking, protection there. I want to give a shout out, and this is a stat game, and it goes to Emmett Johnson, right? For the guy that's kind of always been the afterthought. Yeah, he did this, but, or he didn't get started, but, or he doesn't look like this. Versus other Big Ten backs. Always kind of overlooked. We saw him last year. Every single time he's gotten an opportunity or you need him to step up, he's done it. Well, he really, really stepped up yesterday and went in the biggest game where you need to play for your seniors on senior day. 16 carries, 113 yards, busted off a 20-yarder. Then he had 6 catches, 85 yards. That safety net for Dylan. Obviously, he had a big 30-yard kind of screen pass that he scored on last week, and it was continued to get out there. And he also, one thing I will say also, Coach Rule and I think Coach Dana said they were, running backs need to make some guys miss. He made some guys miss, got some good yards after contact, and so he played really, really well.
He also got to tip his cap and shake Dana Holgerson's hand too.
Good.
Some really, he had that one, or he was just wide open on it. I'm sure you and Austin will probably break that down on the whiteboard at some point.
Yeah, on the screen pass.
Yeah, I don't
it's a
know
little
how
flare
that.
pass.
How did
So
you get lost back there?
Well, what they do is they kind of had Barney in there, and they kind of orbit screen that way. So generally, they've been running. They ran that kind of like Kansas City, like shovel pass, right? And then you can also run the screen to Barney, and that's what they've done before. And that's actually was one of the first plays that they kind of ran, got it to Barney, and it was going left. So they've ran that kind of action.
So
two or
they
three
were
times,
setting that up,
and then it's a quick release now. And if you have bad eyes as that backside linebacker, he's out there in the flat, and it's full bore, full speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting your running back on your linebacker, and it's no check release. It is gone. And he catches it. It was a great pass by Dylan, because in order for that play to be effective, the quarterback has to lead it and get it on him so he can catch it and go.
Stride, yeah.
And he was able to do it, and he kind of gutted out, almost got it. He scored on the touchdown last week, and he did it this week. And so, the other one I usually do is like, who needs to, go to the principal's office. That's guys that need to step up. Nobody really, because everybody played well. And then I also want to give it to a defender on senior day, very active in the run game and needed to play well against this running attack for Wisconsin. The safety play, Isaac Gifford, Deshaun Singleton had a little bit of a rough week last week. Obviously, the coaching staff has said so. Malcolm Hartzog as well. So you got to think that from the defensive back room, the third level, you want to give them a lot of credit. To where they were, stepped up and played well.
It was a good bounce back game for the secondary.
Yeah, I mean, they're a senior led group, and Ty Robinson was active, and then you want to get also to John Bullock. He had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and so he was playing downhill, and it's a defensive team defensive effort. Everybody had to play and play well, and also they did a good job of getting some guys that hadn't played much all year in there. Prince Well was in there. Stephon Thompson was in there. Jeremiah Charles played. Jamari Butler had a tackle for loss. Keona Davis has really been a bright spot. He had a tackle for loss. And then you had said Vincent Shavers had a really good play. Buford, everybody. Bly Hill had a pretty good good day. Carter Nelson also, I want to give a shout out to him. Carter Nelson, we talked about special teams and also Coach Foley. Carter Nelson, highly touted recruit. I think they've talked about him as much as his ability to be active every week and be patient, and he's doing some good things in practice. But to go down there as a freshman, and essentially the technique is called button press. Essentially, you 2-gap the guy that's blocking you or trying to block you on kickoff, throw him, shed him, make a tackle. That's huge. That's a huge play. That's a football play. You're not just going down, okay, I'm in my lane, dominate my lane and make the play. So you want to give a shout out to him. Very rarely do you see offensive guys that can tackle well. He does a pretty dang good tackle, man. So those are the guys that really stepped up this week. That's Nebraska, 44-25 victory over the Wisconsin Badgers. We're going to take a quick break, come back inside the huddle. Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Over 75% of the patients that come to Limitless Male have been told over and over again by their primary care providers that their testosterone level is fine. Guess what? If you have all the symptoms of low testosterone, you're not fine. Come get a second opinion at Limitless Male. We have helped tens of thousands of men feel optimal again, and we can help you. Stop waiting. Come see the men's health experts. Book your free consult online at limitlessmale.com.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Starter Heyman Jewelers. My grandpa Don always made sure that our diamonds are the most exceptional you could find in the world. That's why we're introducing our exclusive Heartland Diamond Collection. If you're ready to add some sparkle to your life that you can see from across the room, the Heartland Diamond is for you. Stop in to Starter Heyman to see for yourself. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
Cyber threats are everywhere. When is the last time you stopped to think about how you're protecting your business from potential data breaches, phishing scams, or ransomware? It's time to make cybersecurity a priority for your business. At Hamilton, our unmatched expertise and cutting-edge technology goes beyond basic defense, providing proactive, tailored solutions that keep your data, network, and digital assets protected. Better protection, better cybersecurity with Hamilton. Visit our website at hamiltonisbusiness.com to learn more.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. Once again, Huskers 44-25 over those pesky Wisconsin Badgers. Become bowl eligible first time in 8 years. So you want to give congrats again to the whole football program, football staff, support staff, everybody that's been a part of it. Even the players from last year, you're part of it as well because you had to set forth some building blocks to hopefully lead to bigger and better things, and the players as well, seniors obviously was a part of the class that stuck it out and became bowl eligible. But nevertheless, as soon as you start to have some success, Harrison, in football, and I guess sometimes in life, you only get to celebrate it for literally 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this is the last game of the regular season. Nebraska is bowl eligible. Will be going to a pretty cool bowl, I'm assuming. Lingering in the weeds, like always, is the Iowa Hawkeyes. on Friday, not Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving. Usually the game is generally at 11 a.m. I always say that's like a mini bowl game because, everybody's coming or waking up from the Thanksgiving itis. And then obviously, people having some drinks, on Thanksgiving night, waking up, rolling, getting a little breakfast and watching the Huskers. We're playing at 6:30 at night in Iowa City. Supposed to be game time temperatures with the wind chill 18 degrees.
I love it.
Yeah, this is it. This is a game that you're going to have to bring a different mentality, kind of like you had to yesterday.
Which quarterback is it? Which one played versus Maryland yesterday? So I know that was the whole dilemma.
Yeah, well, I thought Cade McNamara was going to play,
but apparently he was never entirely so sure about his health coming back.
So then they had your boy Jackson Stratton. He went 10 of 14 for guess what? 76 yards. It's nothing but throwing flat passes and stop routes.
I'm hang.
But
Beacon Hill numbers. I like it.
But their two top running backs ran that ball 47 times. Listen, this is a stat game. This is it right now. This is it. They're no fair. They aren't changing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They're gonna try to line up and punch you dead in the face. They're gonna run inside outside zone. They're gonna run toss. That means they're gonna run boss, and what boss means back or fullback, or in this case H back on a safety. They're gonna try to get up to the second level, and they try to run the old Green Bay, try to get that sweep right in the alley and just kind of lean on you and try to embarrass you and try to eat up the clock. You got to think Caleb Johnson, who quite frankly is probably emerged as the top running back in the Big Ten for what he has to do. He's doing more with less. Now, obviously, the two guys at Ohio State are probably the most talented and are probably individually the best back, but the guy that's really doing it this year, he had 35 carries, 164 yards. And here's the most key of that 164 yards, Harrison. His long was 13. That's just bleeding you to death.
That is crazy.
His longest run.
Long was 13.
On the contrary, though, Kamari Moulton, who's a freshman, came in. He had 12 carries for 114 yards, essentially 9.5 yards a carry, 10 yards a carry. He had a long run of 68 yards.
Okay,
so that, but you got to think for him, out of his 114 yards, 68 came out of it on one run. After that, he pretty well shut down. But your boy Caleb Johnson,
what was he averaging per?
Caleb Johnson averaged 4.7 yards a carry.
Okay, so just right on cue.
Just right on cue.
Yeah.
Just bleeding you to death. Oh, I got a 13. All right, you got me. Stop me for 2. Okay, we're right on schedule.
We'll pick it up on the next one. They fall for 6. Yeah,
right.
That sounds like Iowa every year. I don't know why I'm surprised.
Their big offensive set or their biggest offensive threat, is Luke Lachey, who's about 6'7". Jim Lachey was his dad. Great offensive tackle. Luke is a really good tight end. He's about 6'6", and he can run pretty good. He had one catch for 9 yards, but in the biggest games, I remember looking at this game, looking at this team a couple years ago, Iowa, was Luke Lachey was when they were up in Minnesota, and Iowa had a pretty long streak of beating the Gophers. He sealed the deal, I think, in the fourth quarter with 2 big catches. So look for them to try to get the ball to him the few times that they passed. They ran the ball 57 times yesterday. 57 times yesterday for 273 yards. So they go, and then it's cold. It's probably going to be windy.
Yeah, they're not changing.
Yeah, they're not changing. So buckle up. And that's exactly what you'd want it. But nevertheless, it's going to be a white knuckle game, whether you like it or not, Harrison. You got to show up with your fist clenched and ready to fight, and it's going to be cold out there.
Well,
and
at least we're not fighting for bowl eligibility. Now we're just fighting for.
But that's where
Iowa.
That's exactly. So you can't go up there and say and use that as your crutch. Oh, at least we're bowl eligible. The mindset is, I want more.
Mm-hmm.
We end up 7-5 with the potential to go to a bowl game and get to 8 wins. You're right on schedule. This is still a must-win, Harrison. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. Advanced Medical Imaging sponsors here inside the Huddle, Jay Foreman. We will talk to you next week.